welcome to Monthly Review, the monthly feature in which I talk about the best releases of the previous month. And since there was no episode about the releases in January 2023, and this episode was going to be all about February 2023, I'm going to mix both months in this episode and talk about a little bit of everything that was released in the previous 2 months. So let's start this episode. Best of January and February 2023. So let's just do this in a simple way. I'm going to say one good CD from January 2023 and one really good CD from February 2023, so as not to make this episode a bit too cumbersome to talk about. So, January 2023, in my opinion, was a really weak month. In comparison with last year, it was really weak. Of course, there were releases by the same old 2D franchises that release music regularly, but there was not anything substantial, anything that was really new or exciting to be released in January. However, in the middle of all those CDs by some franchises that I do adore a whole lot, and that I will be reviewing on the website in the coming weeks, so do not worry, I have a pile of shame of 56 CDs, I'm already down to 51 CDs left to review, and many of those CDs are in there, and they will arrive on the website as reviews in due time, so do not worry. So the best release of January 2023 for me was undoubtedly Shunichi Toki's Glorious World. Now, this wasn't necessarily a perfect release by Shunichi Toki, especially after the last 2 releases were basically perfect, but I found myself enjoying it a whole lot. First off, the title track is a full-on rock number, which is rare in Shunichi Toki's case, and in a way, what drew me into that CD was the B-side track, Highway Love. That's city pop. I love city pop. I've said it countless times here, and I've said it countless times as well on the podcast Seiyuu Lounge, that I love city pop. I love to go back in time without actually having lived that time. So the 80s was not my era. I was born a decade later, but I still have a lot of nostalgia for the music from that era, as I grew up listening to a lot of 80s music. So to listen to city pop and have that nostalgia, that class, that elegance that goes with it, and that is particularly noticeable in city pop, as it is a music genre, or should I say, sub-music genre that was created by Japanese artists. So it has a different vibe from all other pop from the 80s. And I do love it a whole lot. The mix of jazz with funk, disco, and make it all so easily digestible with a really welcoming pop sound in a way. Or a really interesting pop rock sound, should I say. It's best to say it this way. It's something that we don't have often. I've said it before, there are very few male seiyuu artists that are actually performing city pop music. It's Kotaro Nishiyama, and as of late, Kentito. And beyond them, there are basically no other seiyuu artists venturing to that territory. So it is good to find Shunichi Toki that actually loves to explore the sonorities from the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s to actually embrace city pop and deliver something so amazing like Highway Love is. And that's certainly one of the highlights so far of the year, and so far one of my favorite songs released in 2023. So I found Glorious World to be a really awesome CD. Not perfect, by far not perfect. I didn't find Glorious World to be fantastic. It is an enjoyable song, I can understand that. It is really awesome to see and hear him perform rock. However, it is an anime song type of song, so it is predictable. The tension is predictable. The chorus, I already know how it is going to unravel even before pressing play in that song. So it was not something that I was really surprised by, but it was still a really good song to listen to. So it fails a little bit in the surprise department, but still it is a really good song. But all in all, I do love Shunichi Toki's Glorious World, and I do recommend you to check it. Now, let's go to February. And February was a relatively better month in terms of music releases. We got Gran Rodeo, we got Erosion, we got plenty of interesting artists making their comebacks or releasing sort of compilation albums. But within or among those releases, there was one that I was really looking forward to, and thank God it is amazing. It is Kentito's Hanabi. Now, as you can see by my green, this is a CD that I instantly fell in love with. This is not your common pop CD. It's not your common rock CD. It is something else. Like I was saying before, Kentito is now embracing city pop since, well, let's say, he is embracing city pop since his debut with Mayonaka no Love. And now to see it fully developed in Hanabi is something that puts a big smile on my face. It's been a long time since I listened to a full-on city pop CD. Last time it was Kotaro Nishiyama's Laundry, and it has been a long time since Kotaro Nishiyama has released music, so to have Kentito releasing something like this was kind of awesome. At the same time, Kentito has a wonderful voice and technique, and you can see that throughout the CD. I do love all songs in this CD, but I'm particularly biased to, first off, Mayonaka no Love. Of course, I've said it before, it's one of my favorite songs in 2022, but also about Amber. Now, I've got several things here that make it so that I am really biased about this song. First off, Kentito joined hands with Zach B, one of my favorite composers. Zach B has worked with Anthos, so he knows Kentito really well, to the point that he actually collaborated to create Amber, or to compose Amber. And the song has such a warm, cozy, intimate vibe that I do love a whole lot. It's not the sleazy type of intimate vibe, it is really, how should I say it? It's full of love, you can feel it. It is laid back and it is quite emotional, but it makes it so that you are transported to a soundscape that is so warm, so cozy, so relaxing that you do not want that song to end. I found myself, while I was reviewing that single, or that EP, I found myself repeating that song as I was writing my final considerations of the review. So it's a testament that it is a really good song, that I wanted to return to it, and I wanted to re-listen that track yet again. So I'm quite biased towards Amber, and I do fully recommend you to check it. All in all, when I stopped or wrapped up reviewing Kentito's Hanabi, I was quite surprised, at the same time satisfied, and also excited for what is to come. So I can't wait to see and hear what Kentito has to offer next, because so far I've been pretty much impressed and I want more. I really want more city pop, and basically I want him to take the lead more times as a composer and as a lyricist, and we can finally see and hear that in this CD, as Kentito actually took on the reins to be the composer, something that I was really worried about when he made his debut with Mayonaka no Love, and he was not credited in anything beyond singing. So right now we can see the singer-songwriter Kentito doing his own thing, and let me tell you, it is amazing. So as far as best releases of February 2023 go, by far Kentito's Hanabi is in the lead. I will make an honorable mention of Gran Rodeo's Rodeo Note 2. This is not a new CD per se. It is basically the sound version of the live event that basically was held last year. But I do love when bands challenge themselves to do something a bit different from what they usually do. And in Gran Rodeo's case, the band is actually quite versatile. They have done rock, classic pop, they have done rock, glam rock, they have done heavy, fast paced, they have done jazz, they have done a little bit of everything within rock music. And sometimes they play around with a bit of electronica. But at their core, they are a rock band, while at the same time, they do not want to be labeled as solely a rock band. But still, as I was listening to that CD and revisiting songs that I love from Gran Rodeo and some covers of songs that are really popular that I was actually not that knowledgeable about, it was quite awesome to immerse myself in that vibe, to be taken to a jazz club, to feel, or basically to experience the songs that I love in, and even those that I do not know about, for the very first time. Because those rearrangements, those jazz rearrangements or acoustic rearrangements, give a different life to an already well-known song. And I do love to find that, and Gran Rodeo actually excel in remaking and rearranging their songs. So it's quite honestly one of the best releases of February 2023. However, it's not necessarily a CD with new music. It's a CD with a new outlook about Gran Rodeo's music. Still, I recommend you to check it because it is a really, really good album. These are my opinions about the best releases of January and February 2023. Let's check your opinions. And we've got one participation here by Naz, and Naz says, and this goes in line with what I just said, so it is quite amazing that you are doing the seiyuu for my comment. So Naz says, Hanabi by Kentito was definitely my favorite of the month because it was a release that met the high expectations set for it. All the songs are solid and showcase Ito's vocals well. Besides the pre-release Mayonaka no Love, my favorite is Hidamari, because it is such a warm and comforting song. I really like that his voice comes off as soft yet affirming, and I appreciate that this is one of the songs he had writing input in. Yes, 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 yes. Something that I do love a whole lot about this CD, and you can tell by the way he composed that song, especially Hidamari, as it has, especially if you are knowledgeable about Yumeik's music, you will know for sure that this is a song composed by Kentito because of the way it sounds like. It is really cozy, semi-acoustic, really warm, really close to you, but not asphyxiating you. So it is really, really, really a sweet song. And I do write that extensively in my review that will be dropping in the next couple of days. That CD and all the songs are quite impressive in the consistency they have in that warm, comfortable vibe and how they make the listener feel as they listen to the music. Hidamari is really one of the best songs in that CD, but yet again, all songs in that CD are my favorites. Seeing as I am quite partial to Amber. But still, awesome to see more love for Kentito's music and see that you actually had your expectations met, Naz. I also had really high expectations for this CD, and I was not sure that those would be met, especially because seiyuu artists, when they are starting their career, they want to play safe, and it is usually I would say between 1 and 3 CDs until they get really comfortable with their sound and their music, until they start doing something really different. But this time around we see that Kentito actually doesn't need to do anything different. He's continuing what he has done in Mayonaka no Love, And we actually have a really awesome EP in hand, and I really can't wait until he releases a full length CD. Please let that CD drop until the end of the year. So thank you very much for your comment, Naz, and this is all for your opinions about the best CDs released in January and February 2023. Welcome to Monthly Choice, that corner in which I recommend you songs to check that I have been listening to on repeat. And as I've said in the intro, I have been reviewing a lot of CDs that I had in my backlog. And I made myself a challenge to review 56 CDs in 1 month. And those 56 CDs are basically my backlog, that pile of shame of CDs that I should have reviewed, but I never had the time to do so. So now I'm trying to make time to review some of those CDs, as most of them, if not all, are from artists or 2D groups that I love a whole lot and that I consistently follow and review, but somehow I didn't have the time to do those reviews or to write those reviews. So I have been checking a couple of CDs. Some of those are relatively old for you. They won't be any news whatsoever for you, I reckon. But still, let's check those CDs. I love the Paradox Live franchise a whole lot. I've said it countless times that there are things in this franchise that other franchises in the hip-hop scene do not have that I do find enjoyable in here. Not to say that one or the other is the best, because that depends really on the days, it really depends on the mood. But there's the consistency and the unique vibe that each group has that really draws me into this franchise time and time again. Of course, I'm not a big fan of some of the groups, but maybe you that are just watching this episode will think the same thing. You're not a fan of all the groups, or perhaps you are that type of fan that actually loves everything and you have no qualms with different or really polarizing music genres within a franchise. In my case, I'm someone that has really strong feelings about some groups, and I've got a really lukewarm feelings about other groups. In this case, I reviewed, and this was left in my pile of shame, Paradox Live Shuffle Team Show Volume 2. I had this review on hold for a couple of reasons, because first of all, I wanted to review everything Paradox Live straight away to see where the project is or how the project is evolving. So I intentionally left this CD in the backlog to review. This CD, of course, it's not a novelty for you, perhaps, because this was released in 2021. So I am arriving really late to this CD, but I found it really interesting. Rats and Nobles is my favorite song in this CD. I love Cosmes, and I really love the flow that Ayumu Murase brings as Hajun. So I do love the whole song, and I do fully recommend you to check it. But I was surprised with Beauty and Beast. I don't recall the name of the song, so let me check it. Why Do You Like Me? And oh boy, this song is really, really good. I was not expecting to find an R&B-ish type of song, but then again, we are mixing Bay with Akan Yatsura. I'm not the biggest fan of Akan Yatsura. I've said it a couple of times at least, that I'm not a big fan of Akan Yatsura, because I'm not that big of a fan of Caribbean or African rhythms. So I'm not that big of a fan of their sound. Still, they do have from time to time that song that gets into my head, and then I turn into the biggest Akan Yatsura fan that there is out there. So this is a cycle. So we got in this CD or in this track a mix of bass, pop, stylish sound, and Akan Yatsura's warm, passionate sound. and what we get, especially with the characters that are in here, and knowing the story that those characters have. Let me tell you, I only know things on the surface. I only know really on the surface. I do not know the lore in the Paradox Live franchise, but I know enough to understand why this song is like this, why there is an air of romance and attraction in this song. But I was not expecting the song to go this way, but thankfully we got a sweet, gentle twist to the hip hop sound that there is in the Paradox Live franchise. Something that you wouldn't usually associate with the franchise, given how every team has a really intense, incisive, and aggressive sound. So in here you have quite the opposite. And I love the harmonies between both singers. So this is a song that stood out for me. Of course, Rats and Nobles is my favorite, and as soon as it starts playing, I'm jamming along to it. So I do love that song a whole lot. Still, Paradox Live Shuffle Team Show Volume 2 is quite the awesome entry. I gave it full marks when I reviewed it because it is indeed a CD that I can listen to time and time again and not get sick of it. I do love how varied the hip hop sound is in this franchise and how you can find remnants or hits and bits from the vibe or the sound of each team when there is a shuffle part. So I do like that the songs aren't necessarily new. You can find elements from all groups involved in those specific songs. That's quite awesome. So that's a release that I enjoyed a whole lot. I've arrived really late to it, so I can understand why, or maybe why you may be saying, but that's not new. I understand you. Then I will recommend, as I did a couple of minutes ago, Shunichi Toki's Highway Love, only the song, not the single Glorious World. Highway Love is city pop incarnate. It is stylish, it is elegant, it is mature, at the same time that it is full of nostalgia. I do love songs that have that vibe. I've said it in the intro, I'm not going to extrapolate much, but this is a song that I fully recommend you to check if you like to listen to feel-good songs, those songs that have a really laid-back vibe that you can enjoy without much fuss, and it's not meant to hype you up, but it's not meant to be a downer or anything like that. So I do recommend to check Shunichi Toki's Highway Love. I've been creating some playlists for the website, and I've been working on a couple of things behind the scenes, and I was basically working with a list that included this song. I'm not going to say or unveil much because this is something that will be dropping on the website in the coming months, so I'm not going to spoil it yet. So I've returned to Chise's persona. Chise is one of the characters in the Hanabi franchise. It is voiced by Wataru Komada, and Persona is quite possibly one of the sassiest songs I've ever heard from a 2D character or a 2D group. It is sassy as hell. And on the composition end, we have a dream pair. We have Zekbi and Kan Takahiro, which is quite possibly the best mix you could have for a song as sassy and strangely alluring as that one is. If you haven't heard it, Persona is basically performed fully in English by Wataru Komada. It is a really, really clean and perceptible English, so you won't have any issues trying to follow along with the lyrics, as Komada has a really clean pronunciation. I do love that song a whole lot. I've been listening to it a whole lot. Actually, now that I pay closer attention, I've been listening to a lot of trap and hip-hop sound, or hip-hop music. I was talking about Rats and Nobles by Cosmes and Hajun, and now I'm talking about She Says Persona, that is also a mix of hip hop and dance music. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of hip hop as of late, and She Says Persona came about. I'm not going to say why, but it came about, and I have been listening and enjoying it yet again. So these are all the songs that I recommend you to listen to during this month, and I do hope that you enjoy those. This episode is sponsored by all the Hand That Feeds HQ's patrons on Patreon. A big thank you for the support. Now it's time for Music in the Horizon, the corner in which you and I talk about the songs or the CDs that are going to be released next month. In this case, since this episode is being recorded in March, to be released in March, about right now, the CDs that are going to be released in March. That's way too much March right now in this sentence, and now it has lost all meaning. But yet, let's talk about the CDs that I'm looking forward to in this month, as well as yours. And first off, and I'm going to see my list because I do not recall everything, I'm going to say that March is, thank God, the very first month in 2023 that has plenty of awesome and exciting music releases dropping. The drought is over, guys. The drought is over. So the big releases are already happening, and thankfully March has arrived. So one of those releases is Daiki Yamashita's From Here. Up until now, Daiki Yamashita has released one I wouldn't say mini album, should I say single, EP, and a digital single. I've enjoyed both, but I was not surprised or impressed. So I've said it when I reviewed those CDs that I expected much more from Daiki Yamashita because he's a top tier singer and he has shown in countless 2D music projects that he is a fantastic singer, and he has yet to show that in his solo career. So I am quite looking forward to From Here. At the time of recording this episode, the CD is actually already out. I already have it in my list to review with priority, facing all those CDs that I haven't reviewed in the last 2 years. So I'm looking forward to it. I also want to revisit Darekao. It's a song that I love a whole lot, and it was a song that marked me when I listened to Daiki Yamashita's debut CD. Same thing with revisiting Candle, because it has a really stylish city pop sound that I love a whole lot. Then we have Sir Vanity Midnight Sun. I love Sir Vanity, I love rock music, I love Yuichiro Mehara and Yoshiki Nakajima, and one of my favorite composers, Satoru Kuwabara, is in this band, so it's obvious that I'm looking forward to their music. This time around it is a mini album, and I'm looking forward to see and hear what the band has to offer. They have said a couple of times that they do not want to be labeled a rock band solely, so I want to see and check if that is actually their aim, or if they are actually trying different things within rock music. If that is the case, I'm pretty open to it. If they are going to try something really different, I'm curious about it, but not as excited. So let's see what Sir Vanity has to offer in Midnight Sun. First off, that's a fantastic title for an album. I love these kinds of contradictory titles, so that's really awesome for me. And I look forward to listening and enjoying the music that they have to offer. Then we have Lolodi with Arc. Yet again, a group that I love a whole lot, Lolodi, with some of my favorite singers among my seiyuu, Toshiki Toyanaga, Daiki Yamashita and Shunsuke Takeuchi, and in the composition my favorite composer for 2D groups, Takeshi Hama. So, yet again, this is a group that I look forward to time and time again. I've said countless times that I love this group and I would love more people to enjoy the music that they have to offer. And this time around, I'm looking forward to more dark, almost depressing music coming from this group that has lyrical pop at their core, and they are ready to basically shred our hearts to pieces. So I'm looking forward to Lolodi's arc and to see what they have to offer this time around. And to wrap up, because I'm a big fan of this franchise, it's Idolish 7's Black or White CD. Now, this is a CD that brings a lot of previously released singles and songs to the mix, but it also has a focus on creating a storytelling from start to finish, as you are listening to a CD that feels like a live show. Okay, that's new, in a way. At least for 2D groups, it is new. And you have intro, outro songs, and you have a certain build up to the set list that each group is going to perform within that CD. I'm looking forward to Be Authentic by Trigger, because that's my all-time favorite 2D group. Well, I'm looking forward to Trigger's Be Authentic. This is a song that, from its title, doesn't ring any bells of what it would sound like, so I don't even know what to expect. As always, I do not listen to previews. I only watch the videos with sound turned off. That's sad, but that's how I work when I want to review music. I do not want to arrive to a CD biased towards a specific part or specific character or specific detail that is going on in the composition. So I watched the video, I found it quite sexy, as always. So I wonder if Be Authentic will actually be a title that will match that vibe. So I look forward to listening to that, as well as Zul's Utopia. Zul has been growing a whole lot on me yet again. I was a big fan of their original sound. They lost me a little bit in Einsatz, and I'm fully on board since the release of Zenith. So I'm actually looking forward to those two songs, but I do know that all groups in the franchise are going to release really awesome songs. Idolish 7 have been growing a whole lot, and now their sound is bubbly but still mature at the same time. Rivale also has a really interesting sound that I love a whole lot. It's jazz rock, and I love it a whole lot. I do not know if the new song is actually in the same music genre. Yet again, I haven't checked any previews, so I am quite curious about this CD. This is not necessarily a full-on new CD. It is a new CD because it is being released for the very first time, but most of the songs are not new. There's only 4 new songs, and each group has an outro and an intro. Theoretically, we have a couple of new songs, but not necessarily new songs that are performed by the groups. Still, I'm looking forward to it, and since it is the Idolish 7 franchise, and they have yet to surprise me in a wrong way, I'm looking forward to it. So those are the CDs that I'm looking forward to in March 2023. Let's check your opinions. And we have one comment by Naz, and Naz says, there are so many CDs I'm looking forward to this month. The one I will mention here is Daiki Yamashita's first album. I have been anticipating new music from him since the release of Candle, and I am more than surprised to get the full album as his upcoming release. I am interested in seeing what direction they take with his music and wonder if there are any surprises. You and I both, Naz. I'm looking forward to seeing if there are any surprises in there. I want a song that shakes me to my core. It doesn't need to be complex or or overly layered in its composition. It only needs Daiki Yamashita giving his full with his vocal range. Just something that will make me say, yes, he's a really good singer. And that has been missing from when I listen to his music. I do know that he is a good singer, and I am aware of that. And he has shown that consistency, but never, or at least so far, his music has never made me stop and say, yeah, that's the stuff. He is really an awesome singer. Because he hasn't shown anything like that so far. I'm expecting that to happen sometime, if not on this CD, then in the coming CD. But that of course will depend a lot on what Daiki Yamashita wants to show as a solo artist and what his music label actually wants him to show as well. Do not forget that music labels end up deciding a lot of what a seiyuu artist does, and not many have the power to say no, or I want this, I want that, when they are creating music. But still, looking forward to Daiki Yamashita's From Here. Basically, I resonate with your comment in there, as I did enjoy Candle a whole lot, and I would love to hear more in the same line, or see and hear Daiki Yamashita impressing me with these awesome singing skills. And that's all for this corner about the songs that are going to be released in March 2023. So it is time to wrap up this episode of Monthly Review. As you can tell, this is a really short episode in comparison to most episodes released so far in this monthly series, and that was because I didn't have much time to review new music. Still, I hope you guys enjoyed every single bit in this episode and actually go and check some of the releases I just mentioned. As I said earlier in this episode, there are going to be several reviews, almost 56 reviews dropping within March, and some will be released in April. So you will be getting a lot of music reviewed. Some music actually was released in 2021 or 2020, so they may not even be new songs to you or new albums to you, but still I hope you actually come to the website and take some time to read the reviews and see what I thought about those, or actually experience the music from a different viewpoint. And I would say this is all for this episode. I hope you look forward to the next episode, and if you want to participate, do leave your comments below and I will make sure to read those in the next episode. As always, I will be sharing on social media a form for you to participate as well, but if you do not feel like it, you can leave those comments and impressions in the comments here on YouTube. And that's all for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.